Hello dear beautiful human, I'm RadixDX and welcome to my channel where today we're going to talk about a game that I find very interesting to say the least, and that is Sonic Unleashed. And so Sonic Unleashed is a very iconic game within the Sonic franchise just because of how polarizing its very nature is, and thus there's lots of different opinions when it comes to Sonic Unleashed. Some people consider it one of the greatest Sonic games of all time, others considered it a completely misguided attempt at bringing Sonic back. And so what I want to talk about though is if Sonic Unleashed was ever considered or even brought back as a remake or remaster, what are some changes I would personally like to see in Sonic Unleashed to bring it up to speed with modern day technology, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. Well, today I've got 10 bullet points that I want to go through in terms of what I would like to see potentially in a Sonic Unleashed remake. This is not just port it over to modern consoles and make it look nice and that's it. No, we're gonna go directly into the game's files and talk about what legit changes or additions I'd love to see to the game to make it even better than what it came out to be. Now, personally for me, I really enjoyed Sonic Unleashed. I think it's a great grand adventure, and it's sort of like you have to like all parts of it to enjoy it. And I think it's perfectly reasonable not to like all parts of it just because the parts to it are so vastly different that it's impossible to make everyone love both parts of it. But I personally do, and so I found the adventure to be really great, and I thought it was a really fun time. However, there are some things I would personally change to make the adventure more seamless and perhaps appeal to even more people than before. And so here is my top 10 list. And number 1, this is definitely my highest request, but they have to toss out the Sun and Moon medal requirements. I cannot understand how anyone could praise this requirement. Like, it honestly is one of the main reasons why Unleashed can be quite a chore to get through. If you're not looking through every nook and cranny going through these levels for the very first time, then you will have to go back to them to collect the rest of the medals. And while it's not such a big deal for like the daytime levels, for the nighttime levels, it can take quite a while to go through the levels multiple times to get through all the medals because the Werehog moves at such a slow pace and the levels can get so long. And even the daytime levels, those levels, they're not built for exploration, and so it can be very easy to miss medals in those levels as well, thus requiring many more playthroughs compared to the Werehog levels. Like, I don't think there's an inherent issue of having Sun and Moon medals in general and having them unlock stuff. I just don't think there should be such a high ceiling for getting to the next level of the main campaign. I think you can still keep a ceiling there if you like, just bring it down or just get rid of it entirely. You could use the medals to unlock additional content, like for example, I imagine if they did make a remake that they would include all the DLC content, maybe the medals could unlock the DLC content or anything else that's unlockable, you know? Don't make it not only a requirement to progress through the main game, but make the requirements so high that you're essentially forced to go back to previous levels to try to continue the main story. And number 2, I want to see more daytime levels added into here. And so I really do enjoy the daytime stages in Unleashed, but unfortunately they went by in a flash because most of them you can complete within like 3 to 5 minutes, and as soon as you're done with that, you move on to a 15-minute Werehog level. And the balance in this game is just so off that I just think they need to have more daytime content to make that balance a little bit more even, because this is supposed to be an even balance between day and night, but the nighttime definitely overtakes the daytime here just because of the very nature of the gameplay. So I feel this would be a perfect opportunity to improve upon that balance more by creating more daytime acts. No, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, honestly, but I really do think it's necessary to make the game feel more balanced. And number 3, so one thing that I would love to see is actually get all the levels from the Wii/PS2 versions of the game and incorporate them into the HD version. I mean, obviously there have to be a couple changes because the movesets are slightly different, but overall there's still basically the same gameplay between both versions, and it would just be another way to extend the content of the game and give people more stuff to do. I mean, some of those daytime levels are actually pretty fun, and so I would love to play them with the HD controls. I'm not as crazy about the Werehog levels, so if they want to leave those out, then I'd be okay with that, but I feel like why not, you know? They're in this game, they're unused, might as well bring them over as well. And number 4, this is a pretty simple thing that I feel like should be in any remake or remaster, but adding an option to select the music track before playing each level is absolutely one of the easiest things you can do to make this experience a lot more fun. I mean, the daytime levels have so many great tracks, you know, I'd love to shuffle through them between all the different daytime levels, and I would like to play a music track in the Werehog levels that would hopefully X out the battle music that plays every single time you get into the enemies. Like, please, that's something that we need to be able to adjust. And number 5, it drives me crazy that this isn't in more 3D Sonic games nowadays, but I really would like to see a 2-player race mode. This was always such a blast to play in Adventure 2 and even Heroes, so I can only imagine how fun it would be with the boost formula. Now, I could see some potential issues with this, considering the fact that if it was local multiplayer, you would have a limited screen space, and it's a little bit harder to play the boost formula like this compared to the adventure formula. But nonetheless, they could still make it online at least, so that you could still have a 2-player race mode, and you could even add items and additional characters to make the experience even more interesting, which I think is such a great opportunity to just expand the game's replayability. And number 6, another thing I'd love to see is online rankings, and so I feel like Sonic games are just the perfect games to have online rankings with, because especially with the daytime levels, it's really fun to go in there and try to get the fastest times out of everyone within the world, so you might as well implement some kind of leaderboard within the game itself. And having the ability to even download ghost data to race against would be a great way to increase replayability and to, promote a competitive scene with this game. And perhaps we'll even get some really big speed runs of the game out of this, and so I would love to see that incorporated into here. And number 7, this is kind of expanding upon what I said about additional characters within 2-player race mode, but I would love to see additional playable characters within this game. So it could be just like Forces, honestly, where they're mostly skins like Shadow the Hedgehog, because I don't expect them to make completely new characters that have different abilities and make their own levels based off of them. Like, you might as well make a brand new game if that's going to happen. But even just having characters that are skins of Sonic, but having maybe some different animations to kind of match up what they do and what their abilities are would be great. Like, for example, if you include Blaze as an additional character, having her spin in a circle with fire instead of rolling into a ball would just be a nice little feature to make her feel more like Blaze without actually changing the gameplay all that much. And again, increases replayability, and I just love the idea of playing as different characters within Sonic games in general, and so this would be a really great way to do that. And number 8, just piggybacking off of that, I would love to see all these characters get added into the hub worlds as well, because I'll be honest, I did enjoy the hub worlds within Unleashed, but they were a little bit bland in terms of the characters that were in them. I mean, it was nice to see different kinds of folks from different cultures and stuff in all these worlds, but they didn't really have that many interesting things to say, honestly, and they were mostly just like really simple side quests to fetch certain things from another character and such. I just think that we had some Sonic's friends in there to spice things up. It would definitely make things a lot more interesting. So these characters could actually provide side missions that would lead to them being unlocked to be played with in different levels and such, and so that is a way to increase replayability and just, include more Sonic's lore and universe into the game, because Unleashed is a global themed game. I feel like it should include more of Sonic's world itself. Number 9, you know what? This may be the most important thing, actually. I know the first thing was really important, but this is really important as well. But please, oh please, change the homing attack button to the jump button. I do not understand why they thought that making it the same button as the boost button would be such a good idea, especially when they knew they were going to do an air boost. Like, seriously, if I wanted to homing attack something but instead boost it into oblivion, then that's just one of the most annoying ways to get a cheap death in this game. You have to be really conscious of when you use the homing attack, which is silly because that was never a thing in a Sonic game before. And so I really hope that if a remake or even a simple remaster ever came to form, that at least this gets changed in terms of the controls, because this is just crazy. And number 10, the last thing I would love to see in a Sonic Unleashed remake is Super Sonic and a Super Werehog playable in normal levels, because so much of this game is focused on restoring the Chaos Emeralds. It especially feels like a natural feature here to include the Chaos Emeralds as a playable feature. I mean, you had Super Sonic and Sonic Colors, but Sonic didn't even use the Chaos Emeralds in that game, and so why wasn't Super Sonic a thing within Unleashed? And I would love to see what a Super Werehog would look like, especially, having a Werehog that can float in the air and then just take out enemies in one hit. That would be a really, really fun way to play the levels that can drag on for so long upon your first playthrough. And so, I love to see it. I think that's a great feature. I feel like that's something that every 3D Sonic game should incorporate, because it's a really nice reward to play through a game with that much power and speed after working your butt off to unlock it. And so, I don't know, hopefully that's something that they would incorporate in the future Unleashed remake. But anyway, that is my entire list. You know, I just realized I think Sonic Unleashed is such a great and grand game, but there's so many things you could do to make it even better and just make it much more expansive and more accessible to other players. And so let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What are some things you want to see in a Sonic Unleashed remake? Would you even want to see a Sonic Unleashed remake? Let me know why or why not in the comments below. And I mean, hopefully one day we at least see Sonic Unleashed on Steam, but if Sega won't even give us that, then the chances of an Unleashed remake are pretty slim. But I mean, a guy can dream. Unleashed is a really good game, and I feel like it just gets so much negativity because of the polarizing features of it, but it's still a really well built game, and I'd love to see it come back one day. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching this video. Special shout out to my patrons, New Gamer Hub, Team Rattle Sign Gamer, Trash Q, Claw84. These are my patrons / YouTube members. If you'd like to become a patron or YouTube member and get access to a whole bunch of different perks, then please check out the links in the description box below. But alright, this is Riders, riding out.